Welcome to the Edge Market Update for June 30th, and we had another week of very volatile price action again, as today we had the USDA quarterly stocks and planted acres report, and that certainly provided fireworks for both corn and soybeans, actually in opposite and diverging directions. We had a very big surprise on corn for new crop corn. It was a bearish report. The acres came in at 94.1 million acres, up from 91.8 at the last report, and the trade estimated a 92 million acres for corn this year. So that was an extremely high number coming into the trade, and we just collapsed on price today as new crop corn sold off another 34 cents, which it was already heavily sold off this week prior to the report. So we are actually back at the pretty close to the low that was established in the third week of May. And that really needs to hold this upcoming week to prevent further lows from forming on new crop corn. This chart is just insane. I think the last time we've seen a 21% move, which we've had the past 7 trading sessions, was in 2008. So we were at 630 back at the end of June, and that was the prior resistance level from back in November of 2022. We hit that and have just really sold pretty much 7 straight days of red candles here. This 576 level that bounced early on this week, and we failed there. That hit this must-hold trend line that I talked about in last week's video at 550 to 555, and we just melted right through that. Kind of consolidated yesterday around that 50-day moving average, but that didn't hold. And with that bearish news today, really saw new crop corn sell off to almost back to the lows here. Had a lot of selling volume. Strength indicators went from historically overbought to levels that you only see, just a few times every decade. And now we're almost back to oversold again. So it's just crazy how quickly that move happened in the strength indicators. Same thing with money flows, extremely overbought a week or two ago, and now we are back to extremely oversold in the short term. Long-term momentum, we're still technically positive, but as you can see, we've sharply turned lower here. We're above the neutral line. So really need some time to digest this move. What I'm looking for next week is some price consolidation in this $5.90 to $5 area, maybe even up to $5.10 next week. Would really like to see price consolidate and build some secondary support in this area. If that's not the case, we could easily find a new low. The numbers that the USDA came up with are up for debate, but this is simply the numbers that traders are trading, and we can't control that. So hopefully we'll find support next week on new crop corn, and ideally, form a secondary low to build something off of here moving forward. Moving on to soybeans, it was a very bullish report actually. The estimates came in at 83.5 million acres of soybeans, down from 87.6 million, so they took out 4 million planted acres of soybeans. The trade estimated 88 million acres of soybeans this year, so almost 5 million acres less than what the trade had estimated. And this caused new crop soybeans to rally 77 cents. So last week's video, we talked about how we hit $13.78 right above the crop insurance guarantee, closed the week right at that $13.38 support, and then this week we melted lower and we hit this must-hold trend line that I talked about yesterday. And today we bounced right where we needed to, and we are now back above that $13.38 resistance, which is now support. So ideally next week we can hold this $13.38 level, and then we can hopefully get back up to that crop insurance guarantee and start testing that 1378 and potentially break out here. Ending stocks were also lower than what the trade had estimated and down from the prior report, so that was a slightly bullish additive to old crop soybeans as well. So, but November soybeans ended up 39 cents on the week. New crop corn was down 89 cents. So kind of a sharp divergence there as the crops are headed in different directions now in regards to price. We had a ton of buying volume today. Over 216,000 contracts were traded, so the highest volume on this contract so far. We were at very historic levels on strength indicators a week or two ago, and we did sell off a decent amount here, but we bounced at that neutral line at that 50 level, and we are heading back up and almost to what I would consider pretty strong levels here. So if we do continue higher, don't be surprised to see that strength indicator trigger on the market gauges moving forward in the short term. Money flows, historically overbought a week or two ago. We were extremely oversold this week, and today we bounced nicely. So this actually has quite a bit more room to run up, and we're actually, I would consider, pretty weak still on this indicator. So it has a ton of room to move higher. And if that does get back to this 80 or above area, we'll certainly see the money flow trigger on the market gauges as well. And then long-term momentum, we are positive again. We were starting to hook lower on the recent weakness in price, but now we seem to be heading a little bit higher again. So momentum remains positive for the longer term, and would really like to see again this 1378 level test next week, and maybe we'll have enough volume to break through that and get back to $14 or that 14.27 high back from late December there. So that's where we're at right now. Again, the numbers that the USDA released are up for debate. Certainly those could change moving forward, but that's what price action traded today, and that is what was important to traders. So we'll see if new crop soybeans, we may have some sell signals potentially next week, depending on what happens with price action, but we will continue to gauge that and let the market digest these big news events with the weather and with this new planted acres expectations. If you have any questions on your crop insurance policy with indemnity, with maybe a revenue or a yield loss, contact us anytime. We can walk through different scenarios to see how you're covered. But with that, we want to thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at any time. Have a great 4th of July weekend.